Hi guys, back again with more on Beowulf from White Wolf Archery. This is my 62-inch Beowulf. I think it also comes in 58, I believe is the other size. This one's 48 pounds at 28 inches. One thing I don't know if you can notice on camera or not, but it's got a fairly aggressive recurve. I have other recurves that the curve is not quite as aggressive. Helps in a number of different ways. One is it sets a nice preload on the string. Now, preload is how much load is already loaded onto the limbs before you even start to pull. And the more preload you have, the faster the bow is going to be relative to its poundage. Now what I mean by that is you could have an old English longbow that at 28 inches is 120 pounds, say. But when you let that string down to its resting position, if it's an old worn out bow that's been strung up for years and not unstrung, the wood relaxes into this position, so the preload is almost nothing. It might be like, 1 pound of pressure to get the string moving. So even though it's 120 back here, once you release it down here, if there's only 1 pound of pressure, that arrow is going to go, it's just not going to fly, even though it's a 120 pound bow. Now you could take the same bow, say it's 120 pounds at 28 inches, but down here, it's still got 50 or 60 pounds behind it. Boy, that arrow's going to cruise, because it's pushing all the way. There's no dead spot at the end. So when you take a more modern designed recurve like this, that's fairly aggressive, you can build into it a lot of that preload, which this bow definitely has. For a 48 pound bow, shooting close to 190 feet per second, that shows a lot of good design and a lot of nice preload in the limbs, which is helped by this aggressive recurve. Now another aspect of it is it really gives you an uncoiling effect of like a spring. So it gives you a even and long, smooth draw because it's uncoiling. If you think of a straight limb on like a flat bow, it's kind of, and that's it, It can only go so far and then it stacks and that's it. Whereas with a nice coiled recurve, it can really uncoil. Now I've got a 28 inch draw, which is about right there. Let's say you got a 31 inch draw. Well, for a bow like this one seems like it's not a problem. You can go 28, 29, 30, way back there. It just keeps going. It's just uncoiling, which is a really incredible feature to build into a bow. So if I was using my old draw length that I would use with like a compound at 31, and I was looking at recurves, and I wanted to stick with that draw length, from the different position like this, as opposed to a more traditional stance, I could actually still use this bow. So, it's a lot of little bits of technology built into this, and it really pays off with the non-stacking, with the uncoiling, and with the preload, and that aggressive coil. Now some people might say, well, doesn't that make the bow unstable? Well, I think that's compensated for this width. That's a pretty good width, and that helps stabilizing it and keeping it all centered, and it seems to be fine. So yeah, if you got a few years, well, a lot of years of experience building bows, like at Beowulf, you can produce something like this. It's really fast, light, darn good looking. Alrighty, I'll see you on the tube.